Hi friends, welcome to the Peaceful Home. So happy to have you join me today. We are going to talk about helping our children keep their rooms clean. Most parents I know really struggle with this. They will tell their child to go clean their room, and no matter what they seem to say or how many reminders they give, the room is a train wreck. I have a system that worked so well for each of my 6 children. We're going to talk about all the details of that today, so stay tuned. If we haven't met, hi, I'm teresaelling. I'm a professional organizer, parenting coach, wife, and homeschool mom to 6 graduated kids. One of my favorite things is to help parents in organizing their children's spaces and helping them train their children how to manage their stuff. I have heard of various different systems for helping your child keep their room clean, but I'm just going to share with you what I did with my 6 kids. And I would say that all 6 of them are really very capable and skilled at keeping their belongings organized, keeping a room clean, having some habits in place, and I'm super proud of them. But you know, these are skills that can be learned. And that means they have to be taught, and that's your job. I see 3 huge mistakes that parents make when they're trying to help their kids clean their rooms. Number 1, there are too many toys in the bedroom. Now, if you use a checkout system like we talked about in the previous video, and you can keep on it and there's not too much clutter, you'll be fine. But a lot of parents, because the toys are being played with in another room and the parents aren't really checking in, it can go downhill really fast. And then it looks like a tornado went through the room. And it's very hard for children to look at all of that and be able to clean it up. So it doesn't mean you can't have toys in the room. It just means you have to be really intentional about having those cleaned up in a timely manner. The second mistake I see parents fall into is requiring that their children clean their room maybe once a week, or even less often than that, or only when they ask them to. And this is a huge problem, because if you aren't checking in throughout the week, and let's say on Saturday you're like, okay, you need to go clean your room, I do not know many children that can handle that level of responsibility, honestly. Their little brains were not made to see so many aspects of their room and be able to compartmentalize, organize, pull it all together. After a week of having clothes scattered, piles of new clothes coming in, books and papers everywhere, toys scattered, your child cannot look at that and just say, okay, I'm going to clean my room. I'm just going to get started here. They have to be taught. And if you wait until it's that overwhelming, it's really difficult for them. Think about in your own life with your own home. When things are really bad, I don't know if, like me, this happens where you walk into a room, I'm like, I don't even know where to start. It's so overwhelming right now. So we don't want to do that to our children. And you know, while you're learning to manage your own home, just the tiny component of helping your child with their room is really small and manageable. So if that's where you need to start there. Mistake number 3 is not having clear expectations of what a room looks like. This is so important because your child doesn't know if they've actually complied or not when the boundary is so fuzzy and they really don't know what the expectations are. What does a clean room look like? For a lot of kids, they know at least that their parent doesn't want to walk in and see a bunch of obvious stuff on the floor. So what do? Shove it under the bed, shove it in the closet and close the door, shove it in a drawer. That just creates a bigger problem. So what we did was we had a checklist for our kids. And there's 4 main components of this, and it's pretty simple. The 4 components are floor, clothing, bed, and hot spots. Of course, you can change this up for your family. You can tailor it specifically to your needs. Really easy to just type something up on your computer or just do a handwritten list. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. So number 1, floor. Is the floor clear? There are 3 specific things that are going to be checked. Is there any trash that needs to be picked up? And have you checked under the bed, and the floor of the closet. If your child has to check these areas, there's no way they can hide clutter away from you in those spots. This means when you go in to check their room, you have to do a quick glance under the bed. I recommend not keeping anything under the bed so that it's really easy to tell whether there's anything under there or not. If you really have to have like a large bin of toys that won't fit anywhere else, just keep it minimal so that you can tell at a glance if there's stuff shoved under there. The other spot is the closet floor. And really the entire closet, it's so easy for kids to shove things in there and close the door, but especially for things to end up on the floor that just become a mess. Things get buried, things get stepped on and forgotten in there. And one of the things that I recommend to families in children's rooms is to remove the closet doors. And it helps so much. I cannot even tell you what a game changer this is to have the closet door off so that your child can always see their clothing, they can access it easily, and there's no place to hide anything behind a closet door. I'll link my tips for organizing closets below in case you need a little more encouragement in that area. Number 2 is clothing. Are clean clothes put away? Are dirty clothes put in the hamper? And here's another one that you might need to check depending on the child. There are a few kids that just like to take those shortcuts. I had 1 or 2 of those, and I always had to check the laundry hamper for clean clothing. Now, I did have my children by the ages of 8 or 9, they started doing their own laundry. And so it wasn't as much of an issue after that because the more they put in there, the more they had to wash. But while it was still on my job list, I did not want them cleaning up by putting clean clothes in the hamper. So just be aware of that. Make sure that they're putting their clean clothes where they belong. Number 3 is the bed. Is the bed made? And is it clear of anything that doesn't belong? I suggest that you make it as easy as possible to make your bed. A lot of parents will forego a top sheet for just a blanket or comforter and then just wash all of that together. Whatever you do, make sure to train your children how to make a bed, depending on their age, of course. When they're little, 2, 3, 4, you're basically teaching them to just pull up a cover, straighten a pillow, and put a stuffed animal there, and that's it. And you really don't care how rumpled and wrinkled it is. You're just happy that they're starting to learn the job. But as they get older, they can learn to make the bed properly. And I would suggest that they start by pulling up all the covers while they're still in bed. And if they get in that habit, it's so easy to just pop out, straighten a pillow, and they're done. Number 4 is checking hot spots. Now, hot spots is a term from Fly Lady. I have been following Fly Lady routines for goodness, probably 15 years. And I plan on doing some videos about her cleaning routines in the future. I'm really excited about that series. But you want to teach your children about hot spots. Another term for them is clutter magnets. And that is any surface that clutter just tends to pile up. And the thing is, you put one thing there that doesn't belong, and before you know it, there's 20 things all piled up there that need to go to their homes. So we were very clear with our children, like what belongs on your nightstand? A lamp, your jewelry box, and the book you're currently reading, and a glass of water. So if those are the 4 things allowed on the nightstand, there shouldn't be anything else there. So when you see any clutter there, you need to give them a reminder, hey, go check your hot spots. Same with the top of the dresser. Don't allow things to just start accumulating there. Teach your children what belongs on the top of the dresser and that everything else needs to be put where it belongs. If you're just getting started with this, I would suggest that you sit down with your kids and start to ask them, what do they think a clean room looks like? Get their input. Even if you have a good idea of what you want to see, it's important to let them be a part of that process, and they might think of something that you didn't think of. Get them involved, talking about it. If you can't write down what a clean room looks like, then how are they going to know how to clean it? So make sure that you come up with your list of what's expected. And then you can set up a training session for reinforcement to establish this habit. And we had a clean room accountability list. I use this with clients too. And they can get a point for each of those 4 things throughout the week. I had Monday through Friday. You could do Monday through Saturday. I do suggest you have at least one day that they don't have to worry about things. So let's say that that's Sunday. You're not going to do a room check on Sunday, but maybe Sunday night before bed, you're just going to give your kids a reminder. You know what, guys, I'm going to do a room check, before we head to school tomorrow. And it is the end of the weekend. So you might just want to take a look at getting your room tidied up tonight before you go to bed. And especially for older kids, they can begin to learn to manage when they're most effective in the morning or the evenings, and they really should do their little clean room sweep then. But they need to know when you'll be doing inspection. Is it in the evening before bedtime? Is it in the morning before school starts? Just make it really clear what your expectations are. And then the best thing is decide on a reward. Maybe at the end of the week, if they've gotten a certain number of points or check marks, you guys are going to do something special as a family, or they're going to earn some kind of privilege. I think it's extremely helpful for kids to have something that they can check off as they're learning, and so that they don't forget any of these 4 points. But ultimately, if you train well and you follow up, I found, at least with my kids, as they got older, I didn't even need to check rooms. It was very rare because it was such an established habit for them. Now, one of the exceptions that we talked about in organizing kid toys is there might be something like they are doing this giant extravaganza with building Legos and making things for the dolls in the dollhouse, and it's just this giant thing in their room. I would just make sure that it's tidy. So things aren't scattered, they're put together in one spot. You want them to leave out what they're creating, what they're building. I mean, we don't want to just have our children living in this sterile environment where there's no place for play. We want to encourage that. But everyone can learn to tidy up at the end of the day. So you can teach your children that as well. Just remember to avoid those 3 mistakes: having too much in their room, either too many toys or too much clutter. You need to declutter. Not doing a daily check, and also not having clear expectations. If you will correct those 3 things and get a system in place, I guarantee you will see a difference in how your kids manage their rooms. Thanks so much for joining me today on The Peaceful Home. Have a great day.